Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Episode 193 of The Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our supporters. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. So I want to welcome Brian Latwis and Yay Fiber to the Patreon crew this week. And as always, special shout out to our top tier supporters, Gentinu, Splimo, Szechuan, Strosity, Mallard, Twisted Soul, Jay Blaz, Z-Space, Chandler, and Yay Fiber. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. If Patreon is not your thing, that's quite all right. Head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Dilz, where you can make a one-time donation in the form of a virtual coffee. So thank you to Angie666 and Caradoc for keeping me caffeinated this week. And trust me, guys, I really needed it. And last but not least, but thank you to everyone who boosts our Discord server, discord.gg/thewilderness, Battle Staffs, Chick, and Should've. Thank you guys for boosting that server for us. Welcome to episode 193 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dilz, and joining with me is Heartless. How's it going?
Hey, Dilz, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. It has been a week, to say the least. But, of course, let's talk about what's going on in RuneScape. They have started the Android beta for basically a bunch of RuneLite features and some gold sync changes. They share some of the post-launch improvements for Group Iron Man. They announced the 11th annual Golden Gnome Awards. Basically, it's I don't know if you want to call it an award show, but they give away a bunch of awards for content creators. And here we go. This is like year 6. Still no podcast category. Unlucky.
Would we even win is the real question.
Yeah, you know, that's a good question, but I guess one step at a time. We got to get the category first, and then we got to battle. See, that's the problem is. Well, since like 2020, there's been a bunch of other shows that have popped up, which is awesome because for a while it's been like a podcast drought, which I always thought was very strange. Anyway, I've talked about that before, but there's even content creators who are doing podcasts, but they're not completely centered around RuneScape. They kind of drift off into just random conversations, but the RuneScape content creators in the end. So anyways, I think next year has got to be the year for our podcast because they're popping off. So yeah, whether or not we win, that's we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, they released the 11th annual Golden Gnome Awards, and I'm wondering, I'm guessing they're doing it virtual. Yeah, it says they're here doing it digitally, so no RuneFest, unfortunately, which is usually where they give out these awards. And let's see. And next, it's PJ Timer beta and chat changes. We'll have to go through this one together. I have not had a chance to really brush up on these dev blogs, and I'm going to tell you why. It has been a crazy week. So I have a baby that's due in January 11th to be specific. But I think you guys know where this. I think you know where this is going. November 25th. Yeah, November 25th, we were hanging out. I was playing PlayStation 4. I was playing Fallout 4, just doing some stuff. I was clearing out a super mutant encampment, and I was like heat in the battle. Rocket launchers flying at me. It was really important. It was a really tense time. And my girlfriend's like, I'm getting period pain. So, which is apparently normal. So she there's a hotline, or there's a maternity center that we go to that we called, and they're just like, oh, it's called Braxton Hicks, I think it's called, which is like phantom pregnancy or false pregnancy. For some reason, it's like your body thinks it's going into labor, so then it starts doing all the weird stuff that you do in labor, but to a lesser extent. And they're like, just keep an eye on it. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go back down. I start clearing out those super mutants. That's a really important part of the story, is those super mutants. But anyways, I'm like sitting there, and then my girlfriend's like, calls me over, and she's like, I'm in a lot of pain. So then we call them again, and they're like, oh, if it's gotten worse, let's go to the hospital. Let's check it out. So we go there, and they said it's probably something it's something routine. I wouldn't worry too much. But anyways, we get there, and we're like, a bunch of nurses are there doing their thing, and they're like, well, guess what? You're gonna have a baby tonight.
Oh my God, that is so early.
Yeah, 7 weeks early. So we were like, well, first off, we started freaking out because it's like 7 weeks early. What the hell does that mean?
We're not ready.
Yeah, one, we're not ready at all. I don't even have a car seat installed because my car had a bunch of just stuff we were getting rid of. So we had to stop by like a Value Village or a thrift store to drop it all off. But my whole car was filled. I didn't even have a car seat in there, and then they're like, "You're gonna have a baby," and then we're like, "Okay, well, that's really early." What the hell does that mean? Like, they like, don't worry, premature babies do really well at 33 weeks. It was pretty scary at first, but they really, I guess we've learned so much has happened. It's been a week since he's been born, and so much has happened. So, anywho, fast forward, baby is born, so like a month and a half early, and it's they basically said once he is out in the world, he has to be whisked away because he has to kind of get some checkups and stuff. But they kind of prepped us what to expect. But it's like we took some pictures, right? You got to take pictures when the baby's born right away. But then you send it to like family members, and he's in one of these like huts, these incubators, and there's like he's got like a respirator on. He's got like IV and 4 or 5 different wires all attached to him, and it's like looks kind of scary.
It's just hooked up like an alien.
Yeah,
was he like a bit of a prune because he came so early?
Like, what do you mean, like smaller?
Like, was he small and like?
I think. See, I don't really have too many baby. I don't have any baby to compare it to, but I think he did seem smaller, but not like so. Like, there's pictures of other preemie babies that's like literally sitting in somebody's hand, which is like terrifying.
Because they're like not fully developed. Don't know a lot about pregnancy, but I imagine if it's so early, there's still something that needs to happen before. So maybe they just haven't grown to the right normal size.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They because I was like worried, like where's like brain development, like where are we at with all that stuff? And they said at 33 weeks, you kind of you're everything's good, like for the most part. The only thing that he's gonna need help with is his lungs, and it's like the lungs have this like they either do or they don't have this mucus that allows it to. It's like the lungs are sticky, so when they contract, they have trouble popping back open to breathe. So then they put the respirator on, and it pumps a little bit of pressure, and he can breathe, and that's what that's there for. And then he's got an IV because he's going to need some sort of nutrients or some sort of he needs something inside of his body that he's supposed to be getting when he's still in the womb. It's like all this stuff, but luckily it's they said everything is good. This is all expected. And then every single day, 2 days down the road, actually it was 3 days exactly, they pulled off the respirator. He's like, he can breathe on his own. A day after that, they took him off the IV. So it's like, and then they took him out of an incubator. So then now he's just sitting in this little pod. It's weird because so he's still at the hospital, and he's going to be there for a couple more weeks, a few more weeks. They said plan for him to be there for 2 weeks. No, get everything ready as if he's coming out in 2 weeks, but set your expectations for him to be here for another 7 weeks, like his due date.
Okay, that makes sense because they can take care of him in the hospital, right?
Yeah, they have like 24. They have this whole 24-hour care, of course.
I mean, I'm sure premature babies are not uncommon. The hospital's been dealing with them for ages, so I'm sure they have a great setup for it.
Yeah, exactly. They're like it's like 1 in 12 babies are premature, and 33 weeks is pretty good. They're like we routinely get like 25-week babies. It's like Jesus Christ, that's like scary. Like, but they do fine. So he's like chilling there. I thought like in the movies when you see babies in like I don't know. Have you seen the show Sweet Tooth?
No.
It's like these babies are born and they're called hybrids, and they have like the parts of animals, like they have like horns or they have like goat ears, and it's like this virus that was hit the world, and it's caused like babies.
Interesting.
I've only seen the first episode, and it was not bad. It seemed okay, but anyways, in it they have all the babies behind like this glass in this room, and they're all like side by side, and then the mothers and they come up and look through the glass like, oh, there's our little baby boy over there. And I thought that was what it was going to be like. I was like, oh, are we not even gonna be able to touch and be in the same room? But luckily that wasn't what it was at all. we can go right into a room whenever we want. Because I was always worried that like, what if they like give a baby and it's like a different baby, and like, how the hell am I supposed to know? They all look kind of
definitely it's happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Like where people have taken home the wrong baby, and you just never know until they're older.
Yeah,
it might become obvious, right? I
heard a podcast where 2 babies got switched at birth, and and they just like didn't have the temperament that like their siblings would have had because they came from a different family. And then afterwards, basically, like when they grew up and they became adults and they realized they were switched at birth. I don't know how you realize that, but they found the original families and they kind of switched when you're like, it's, I don't know, very strange stuff. But anyways, it can happen. But yeah, so yeah, Remy, that's his name, little Remy, shredding in the NICU.
Congratulations, dude. That's big.
Yeah, it was intense, and so many people are like, "Oh man, congratulations!" Like, welcome to like fatherhood or whatever. But it's like I'm in this weird period. If we want to be like optimistic about the whole thing, like I have a child, but I don't have any of the responsibility of being a dad right now. Like
they're still at the hospital.
Yeah, he's at the hospital, and there's we go see him, and there's things I change his diaper and all that stuff as well. But because he's premature, and I think babies would do this in general, but they sleep a lot, so like we go there for 4 or 5. We go there for a bunch of hours every day, and then we just kind of, all right, I'm gonna go home and got to clear out that super mutant encampment on Fallout 4, so you gotta get back to that.
Of course you do. Get rid of those stupid super mutants so the baby can arrive.
They're bastards, man. Yeah. So, anyways, it's been a crazy week. The baby is here.
No kidding. Haven't seen much of you. I'm surprised you came back so early. I thought we were gonna have a little bit of a hiatus from the podcast, which would be totally fair.
Same, but then the whole lack of responsibility part kicked in now.
I guess we'll see when you get the baby, and we might just not be able to get episodes out as quickly as possible.
This will be this will be a repeat of 2020. No, I'm kidding. I don't foresee that, but like at the same time, who knows? But but the podcast has to continue. The podcast episodes must flow. That's what they say in Dune, right? The spice must flow.
The spice must flow.
Yeah, the podcast episodes must flow. So there we are. And then the grinds have to keep happening. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. But I have been playing RuneScape.
Mobile Max are coming in the chat right now.
Maybe once those client things kick in, I try to play mobile and like.
But your tile markers?
I need the tile markers. It's just things like I go do Zulrah and then I die because I thought I forgot to switch a prayer, or I fat fingered the wrong prayer or something, and then I die, and then I get pissed, and then I just like, okay, I'm not logging on, and I would log out. And then I'm also playing my Ultimate Iron Man, kind of started that guy back up, because what I got stuck at, I needed Rings of Recoil, right? We're going to go back a few weeks. I needed Rings of Recoil so I can kill things in quests, and which means I needed 40 smithing. And the best way to get smithing is repairing the wheels at Motherlode Mining, which is pretty boring to do.
That's the best smithing?
I think so. Yeah.
That's just in free to play, or no, I pay to play.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well, I don't know if it's the best, but what makes it so good is like you don't need to go mine anything and get bars. You just
True. Yeah, it's stupid Ultimate Iron Man.
Yeah, it's a rough life, but I got 40 smithing, so I got my Rings of Recoil. If I get 5, so this is where I'm at. If I got 5 magic, because then I can boost it with a Wizard Mind Bomb from Falador, which is a drink you can buy from the pub. Gives me 2 magic levels. I can then use level 7 Sapphire enchant spell. And if I go to the Fountain of Rune, I don't gain experience and I don't need runes, and I can enchant to my heart's content without worrying about gaining any combat levels, because that's what I'm just leveling defense, no HP, no attack, no strength, just defense, and then apparently level 5. So now I am at tithe farming, and that is probably the worst mini game. It sucks. You've done tithe farming?
Yeah, I have the outfit and the sack, or whatever, the herb sack. I did 12 hours of it.
You got the herb sack there.
And the outfit, which took longer. It took 10 hours.
No seed box though, eh?
No, I don't really need it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I'm granting as a seed box, because then it would allow me, as an Ultimate Iron Man, to put an extra 6 seeds in there, so it saves 5 inventory slots. But
most people hate Tithe Farm.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
It's not the best. I certainly don't hate it though. Most people do though, and I understand why. I just really, really like the farming outfit. I think it looks sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of farming, so I was like, I got it not actually that early. I think I got like 97 farming or something, but I did 1,000,000 farming XP in like a week at Tithe Farm.
Damn.
A little bit of psycho status, but no regrets. No regrets. I wouldn't have got it post 99, so that's why I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go get it now.
True.
I'm gonna do a lot of farming on my account, so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why
Yeah, the
not?
outfit's nice. The activity itself kind of sucks. It's not fun, and it's like it's
timed as well. So like if you mess up, like you
Oh
don't
my
get any
God.
points.
yeah, like you. So what you do is you to break it down and why this kind of sucks. When you go into Tithe Farming, you get 100 seeds to plant, and then you basically get points for harvesting the plants, and they take like maybe 3 minutes in total to grow before you can harvest. So you get points from it, which you can exchange for a farming outfit, or you can get a seed box or a herb sack, which you can also get from Slayer. And there's a few other things as well. But what sucks about it is that so you get points for harvesting, but you don't actually you don't start getting points for harvesting plants until you've already harvested 75 plants. So that means you have a potential 25 plants to get points from. But if you screw up, you're just losing points down the road. And that it's oh my God, it's so bad. It's so frustrating sometimes, and it's just like not fun. And
You have to pay attention for sure.
you have to pay attention. You like misclick you're a little bit too slow, and you just start losing a bunch of crops.
With Humidify, if you just do 20 plants, then you have quite a lot of time to mess up. So you get 100 plants, right? You could either do 4 games of 25 or 5 games of 20. And 5 games of 20 obviously takes longer, but there's a lot more room for mistakes.
Yeah.
You have like 3 or 4 ticks of room for mistakes while you're doing 25. It's gaming. I've seen people do it for like hours straight, and I'm like, I cannot do this.
I did this a long time ago because I don't know what was wrong with me, but I was a main account, wanted the farming outfits to look cool, and I also wanted to. I was like grinding out weird minigame stuff, so like Mage Training Arena. I was grinding out the herbs, the Bones to Peaches, and I did Tithe Farming, and it was horrible. Now, I don't know tell me if it was like this for you, but when I first did it, if you were in the middle of a run, let's say you already harvested 50 plants and then you logged out or you world hopped or you lost connection, when you logged back on, you would have been kicked out of Tithe Farming. You would have had to start all over again. Was that like that for you?
It's an instance. So you have to commit to the 25 or whatever.
So it was frustrating because since you don't start getting points until you hit until you've done 75% of the seeds that you've got, like if you disconnected, like you could have spent like a good 15-20 minutes and all that time was just wasted.
Basically.
Yeah. Now they've changed it since then, though. I learned when I was doing it this week. You can now world hop and all that fun stuff without worrying about losing it. So that is so much better because I thought that wasn't the case. And then I had like 3 people crash my world, and then basically we're fighting over like places to plant the seeds, and then eventually I world hopped and it was fine. So they have since changed that, but I know when my first run through of this way back, I was looking it up, and I found a community of people who actually liked to do Tithe Farming. I don't understand why, but
there's so much you can do there. It seems a little silly to me.
Yeah, I don't know how there's a community of people who like that stuff. That's crazy. So I have a list of like podcasts to do and topics, and one of them is to do a deep dive and find this underground ring of people who enjoy doing Tithe Farming and to figure out what the hell is going on there. It is very strange. But yeah, okay, so that was a lot going on there, but that was basically my week in a nutshell. What about you? You got anything to share before we hop over to the news?
Yeah, so my grade 3 contract ended last week.
Okay. So what does that mean?
Now I'm a sub teacher again, which I absolutely despise. But I mean, this week was okay. I was at my old school where I have worked last year, so I got to see the kids from last year. They were so stoked, man.
Oh, they get excited to see you?
Because I hadn't seen them since, I guess, like last spring, and I walked over to pick them up because they're in grade 5 now.
Yeah.
And they were like, wait, what are you doing here? I was like, oh, I'm your teacher for today. They're like, oh, they start losing their minds.
freaking out.
It's pretty good. So that was a nice.
You won them over.
Reminds me that they must like me. So that was a nice moment.
Do you bust out the Bill Nye the Science Guy when you're subbing?
No. I just do whatever the teachers want me to do.
Yeah, okay.
And then I usually have like some backup stuff for like different ages if I need to fill some time.
Some heads up 7
yeah, it depends on like the group of kids. Like classroom classroom behavior usually reflects the personality of the teacher. So if the teacher's like extremely loosey-goosey, then the class is probably going to be a little crazy. Or if the teacher's like very serious person, the class is probably going to be pretty tightly run. I'm somewhere in the middle, like fair but firm,
Yeah,
definitely don't like things to be out of control. I've mentioned this before. I don't like things to be out of control, but also like to be an enjoyable environment.
There was always, when I was in high school, there was always like I was in a marketing class and we had a marketing teacher and she was like really new and she was super nice, but you could get away with like anything. Like she just, I guess, never wanted to, she wanted to avoid all conflict, but it was an exam. And I remember like I would pull my phone out and I would just like listen. She would be like, you shouldn't have your phone, but finish what you're doing on it and then go back to your exam. And you're just like, and people would full on cheat through their looking at their phone, look up the answers for stuff. And she was like, that's a
little too far.
Yeah. And I can't remember if I did or not, but I remember like listening to music and I was like, sorry, miss, I'm just listening to Spotify. Wasn't around, but it was like some LimeWire music I downloaded.
Sure you recorded yourself the night before. That's what it was.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think people might have done that. Who knows?
Oh, I bet they did. Yeah, high school is a different ball game.
Yeah,
not interested in that.
Oh, that would be hell.
I would not enjoy it. But some people will say that elementary would be hell. So, it's just built for different people.
Yeah, true.
But anyways, I don't know what my point was. Yeah, I'm subbing. There's a contract that I'll find out on Monday if I get it. It would be for grade 1.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah, it's a little like out of my comfort zone, but I mean it'd be full-time work till the end of the year. So
do you prefer like lower grades versus higher grades?
I think like I've mentioned grade 3 to 6 is probably like where I like teaching.
Nice.
A little older than that, and they can be dicks.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan.
Once they start hitting puberty, like you got to watch out because that's too much energy,
Yeah, well, no, it's lack of energy. With the little kids, it's just different. It's a different style of teaching. You have to be.
It's random chaos.
No, it's not like it's chaos. It's just like very regimented, and you can't be like super fun. You can be funny with them, but it's more like goofiness. Don't really like see you as an individual yet.
Right.
Kind of figuring out. You're still, teacher to them.
Yeah.
Whereas with older kids, you can have a bit of a better connection. So anyways, that's the whole philosophy stuff. But anyway, 2 more weeks. I think I have like 2 or 3 more weeks left until Christmas break.
Nice.
So I'll just be cruising and subbing for these last few weeks. And then, yeah, hopefully I can pick up that contract in January.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I'll find out quite soon. Yeah, it'd be nice, dude. So until then,
have you seen kids like in the grades that you taught at what age do they start getting smartphones? Do you see that any of them have like smartphones at like grade
so like
3 and stuff?
Last year when I was teaching grade 4, I had 3 kids with phones.
Oh,
so they would have been 10. And then the grade 5 classes taught yesterday, there was like 4. Usually middle school is probably when everyone starts getting a cell phone.
Oh man.
And then by high school, definitely everyone will have one.
Yeah. That's so much power.
It is, but they're good and bad, right? So I think it's all like moderation.
Yeah, fair enough.
If your kid walks home by themselves, then you have a reason for them to have it, but it just depends on what else they're doing on it, right?
Yeah, true.
And, like you don't want to misuse it at school. Elementary is really strict about like you're not allowed cell phones at all. So you leave it in your backpack. But like last year, the few kids that had it, they would tell me sometimes like, hey, my mom needs to call me today for something important. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So when your phone rings, you just go answer it outside and then come back in. They were like pretty respectful about it, and they weren't like on their phones because they know the rules. And the same thing can go in middle school too. Like I think you just have to be strict about it as a teacher.
Fair enough. But
man, I don't know. It's good times.
Yeah, that's hectic.
But so yeah, it's been good. So like that, and RuneScape wise, it's been a long time since we've done a podcast, man.
I know it feels that way. I think it's been two
I haven't
weeks.
seen you online much at all, but I guess you obviously been with the baby.
Yeah, that's the thing. I gotta like we leave like we live close to the hospital, so every like 4 times a day we're skipping off and like
no kidding,
gonna go see him, and yeah, he's sleeping, always just sleeping.
Always sleeping. Well, soon he'll be awake and crying, so don't you worry. It'll come. Enjoy these last few moments.
The other day, last night, we were there, and the nurse that was like that was assigned to him for the night, I hadn't seen her before. What was I doing? I was changing him his diaper, and he made this really funny face, and he was like looked like traumatized. And I sometimes when he's like making funny faces, I like to like say what I think he's thinking, like just to joke around, like imitate what I think is going on in his brain. So I was changing him, and he had this look of shock on his face. So I was like to my girlfriend, like, oh my God, he's like thinking, don't you ever do that to me again. Saying that. And one of the nurses heard me, and she was like, is everything okay? Like, what is he doing? And I was like, oh my God, no, I'm not yelling at the kid. She must have thought that I was like telling the baby, like, don't you ever do this to me again. I was like so embarrassed. And I was like, no, I'm just like
custody before you even get custody.
I know. Oh my God. I was like, I don't know, I'm just like making a joke. And my girlfriend's like, yeah, they don't know your humor. You have to like hold all of that in.
You gotta be real careful with your humor sometimes.
Anyways, I don't have much, but yeah, sorry, yeah. It's so RuneScape stuff. It's been a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, let's jam some RuneScape stuff. So you remember I got Twisted Bow, obviously.
Right, you got the bowlet.
So I've been using that a lot. I did a few solo CMs. Managed to get a Dragon Hunter crossbow.
Oh, that's
2 raids after the Twisted Bow.
That's the first one, right?
First Dragon Hunter crossbow, yeah.
Nice.
Turns out actively useless now. Great item, actively useless for me.
Is it because like you would use the lance for Vorkath and all that?
Exactly, yeah. Like anywhere I'd use that, I'd use the lance or the Twisted Bow.
Interesting.
Would have been really good if I got it before the bow. So it was kind of funny. I got it 2 raids later.
Yeah, collection log item, I guess.
Yeah, the collection log. It was nice to get that. Then I guess I could use it for speed runs. I've heard it's like not bad for certain speed tasks for the combat achievements. So we'll see when we get there.
Okay.
Like maybe AFKing wyverns if I wanted to get a visage.
True.
So that's an option. We've got, what else did I get? Oh yeah. So then I was like, okay, now I have the bow. I should probably start doing the Arma, right? So I retooled my block list a little bit. Unlocked Hellhounds too because I don't have an Eternal Crystal, and I got my prims on like 250 or something. So I kept getting Hellhounds tasks. So I killed like 700 Cerberus last week and the week before.
Nice.
Did not get an Eternal Crystal. I got 4 more Pegasians, 3 more Smoldering Stones.
Damn.
Not
and you
even
still need the
another
Rangers too, right?
I don't have Rangers.
Oh,
no. So
no.
I have many Pegasians. I have 6 Pegasians and like
Sick.
900 KC and like 6 Smoldering Stones. So pretty useless, but you know, it's whatever.
We were talking about this in the clan the other day. Was everyone has an item they collect. I like to collect like empty vials from only that I get from decanting my herbs and my potions that I make. I guess yours is Pegasian crystals.
I'm sadistic and I collect Pegasian crystals. Yeah, but I got the Hell Puppy, which was really sweet.
Shit, no way. That is
yeah
a really cool pet. That's one of my favorite pets.
It's a nice looking one. It's very cute.
Yeah, any dog pets are winners, you know? That's sweet.
Oh yeah, so I'm a huge fan of that one. So I'm happy to have it in the collection.
Nice. What kill count you get it at? Do you remember?
Mid 700s or maybe late 700s.
That's pretty good.
So spoon for sure.
Nice.
Then I hit 99 Slayer at Serb, so I figured I'm probably done with Serb. Eternals, now that I have the pet, it kind of feels like weird just grinding them post 99.
Yeah.
So I moved on. I just started hard skipping for Arma, and I've done a lot. Man, Arma has not been going well for me. I had 2 helmets in like 550 KC.
Ooh. You have anything else from it?
I got a chest plate this morning, actually.
Oh, nice. And you still need the legs though?
Yeah, I just need the legs.
True.
So the log's turning around. It just takes time.
That's right.
And
everything comes full circle.
That's been my 3 weeks, mostly Cerberus.
Damn. Do you think you'll ever go back to Cerberus for that Eternal?
Maybe if I was, so bored that I didn't have any upgrades to go for, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah, true.
But I think for now it's time to move on. Same with Callisto. You know, I was going for the ring. I hit like 700 KC, so I'm over the rate. But at some point, I do want to get a Revenant's weapon, and especially now that they're more viable, I want to get a Rev's weapon. Get that whatever the obelisk in my house, because you need 4 ancient crystals. So I figured I may as well just go get a Rev weapon first, or like rather do that before getting the ring, which barely does anything anyways. And then I can just go sweep the wildy pets, which could be like a super late game goal. So it gives me something to work towards.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Revenants isn't terrible content anymore.
I have been doing them. I don't know if I mentioned. I got 2 of those ancient crystals.
Oh, nice. So 2 more to go.
2 more to go. I've done like 1,000 orcs. I think I'm just doing them with the rune crossbow, and I just, killed a few people.
Nice.
Along the way.
Do some PK.
Yeah, it got. Yeah, well, I bring vengeance, and I can just stack people out sometimes, and I rag people off the orcs if they're there and they look like newbie. There's a lot of gold farmers, so or not a ton, but you do see them. An item, and people, there's scout bots that come, and they will come into the cave on like a level 8 or something and check if you're risking a crossbow or something. Never once has a scout bot sent into main to come and get me. I look like an absolute pleb. So that's kind of the bonus of it.
So you shield yourself.
I haven't been killed yet in like over 1,000 KC. So
damn.
Despite some people getting on me, which is quite nice. I usually fight back so they can't smite me, and then I just go over the agility shortcut. And if they have it, then I just try to juke them, and it usually works. And because if they teleblock you, then they're not on ancients, so it's much easier to escape. And if they're on ancients, you just teleport away.
Not bad. Yeah, those agility shortcuts are clutch.
Yeah, there's like 80. You can usually tell by the like if someone comes in like arms with like actually scary gear, then they probably have the shortcut. I usually look them up as I'm running towards the shortcut to see what my options are. And if they have, most of them just have 50 agility. So you just hop over and hide around the corner and then say bye to them as you go.
Yeah, you have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been RuneScape. It's been chill. Oh, obviously Bingo as well. We've been working on that behind the scenes. Bingo. I guess is now a good time to announce it, like midway through.
Let's just freaking do it. Yeah, well, there's no rhyme or reason to this show anymore. Let's do it.
Exactly. So 26th of December, Boxing Day, as it's known in Canada. Apparently, people don't call it that elsewhere.
Really?
Yeah, it's just a Canadian thing. Apparently, I think. Anyways, I know Americans don't use it.
As far as I know, call it.
They make fun of me being like Boxing Day. So whatever.
Let's see. I looked it up, and
when you put your shit away, right?
Yeah, I looked at what is December 26th in the US, and they said it is the day after Christmas.
Yeah, screw that, man. You gotta have a name for it. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day.
This is when most Christians in the U.S. celebrate the birth of Jesus, whom they believe is the Son of God. It's still not confirmed all these years. Christmas is often combined with customs from pre-Christian winter celebrations. The Bible does not give a precise date for the birth of Jesus. Do people actually throw Jesus a birthday party? I
don't think so. I think it's just like a celebration.
Timeanddate.com. I don't know if I can trust it. Interesting.
Yeah, so good stuff. Bingo. So we're talking about bingo. I'm getting confused here. Bingo. So we're running from the 26th, Boxing Day.
Yep, Boxing Day.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, running until the 2nd of January. So that's 1 week, Sunday to Sunday at the same time. And the new board is absolute fire. Like the spice on this thing is out of control. Some of the highlights. Oh yeah, maybe I should explain what bingo is. Basically, you have a 5x5 board. Each has a tile on it. You get 1 point per tile that you complete. They all have so for example, a tile is get a serp. Actually, I haven't even looked at the board. I need to bring it up so I don't forget, Dilz. Try not to spoil some of the big ones. Now I just can't remember. Okay, smoke battle staff. That's one of the tiles. If you get a smoke battle staff, you get 1 point for your team. And if you complete a row, which means 5, you get an extra 2 points.
Cool.
So you just take the week as a team. You try to complete as many pieces on the board as you can. There's some group content. There's some AFK stuff. Board has a really nice balance. So no matter really what your skill level is, you can come and join. There's Winter Tod on there. Get a Tome of Fire or a Tome of Water. So if you're really low level or a skiller, you can still participate. There's stuff like get a barrow set. That's actually quite a difficult tile. It's a lot of barrows that you have to send. So if you're a lower level just looking to get into PVM, it's a great way to get started. There's a lot of higher level players that can help you out with gear.
Yeah, and even for a higher level, it's not great money, but if you want to farm, for me, that'd be awesome to farm some elite clue scrolls while you're running some of the barrows, because Why not, right?
And if you're a higher level player, bingo is or like a mid level player that's done some bossing. Bingo is a great way to push yourself into new content because there's a lot of group stuff that happens. God Wars dungeon raids, wilderness bosses. All of these things get done during bingo, and it's a great way to sort of push yourself into new content. So some of the tiles I'm really excited about are Revenant's Weapon or Amulet. Cool. So that means you have to hit the table, which is about 1 in 5,000 from any of the revs. Pretty crazy. Visage, get either a skeletal, a draconic, or a wyvern visage. That is a really hard tile.
Yeah, that one's like, can you even grind that out, or do you just hope you get lucky? That's.
I think like the best way would be to cannon the black one, the black dragons in the wilderness.
Oh,
this is like a multi-spot in the cave, but even then, it's not too crazy. This Bryophyta's Essence. So if any Iron Men out there are looking for your Bryo Essence, you can get that one.
Things like 5 mil too, so it's not even bad for like a main account. It's still worth quite a bit.
Hydra Leather or Claw or the full ring. So any one of the 3 would count for the tile. Bandos and Arma Piece. So there's a lot of like higher tier content. There's also some interesting stuff this year, like 5 strange old lockpicks. So that's brought Hallowed Sepulchre into the mix. There's Longbone from Giant Mole, a bit of a troll one, but that's about 1 in 400. So if you're interested in running some mole, there's Infernal Pickaxe. So that kind of, I like that we've done these combination tiles this year. So an Infernal Pickaxe requires you to get a Smoldering Stone from Cerberus and a regular Dragon Pickaxe from the Wilderness.
Now a team can, like, one person on a team could get the Cerberus, the Dragon. One person on the team could get Dragon Pickaxe. The other person could get the Inferno.
Yes.
Shard. What's it called? You just said it. The Inferno Shard.
Exactly.
Yeah, what's the Smoldering Stone? That's what it is.
And Smoldering Stone. Yeah, so you don't need to complete it by yourself. You can work with your team to get the pieces. So yeah, Dilz could get the pick, I could get the stone, combine them together to finish the tile. You don't have to physically combine them together to get the tile. It's just the idea of getting the drops. Upgraded Staff of the Dead is another really cool one.
Oh, cool.
Great suggestion by Raichu, I think. So you get a Toxic Staff of the Dead from Zami, which is about 1 in 500. And then you can upgrade it with one of 3 things. So a Sarah's Light from Sarah, a Magic Fang from Zulrah, or Guthix, whatever, from Last Man Standing if you're a madman. Some great tiles on here. So there's the sort of things for all skill levels, all different types of account builds, and it's always a lot of fun. So I highly suggest, even if, I know it's like the holiday times and people are with family and stuff, but even if you got a couple days to play RuneScape, still sign up because we'll still stick you on a team and you can still be very beneficial, even if you've only got like an hour a day versus someone who's playing like 8 hours a day. It doesn't really matter which one you are because we'll balance the teams around how much you can play. So if you only play 1 hour a day, there'll be maybe like 3 or 4 people per team that can only do that, so it evens out in the end. And the teams will be really big this time as well, just to make that balance work. And yeah, that's pretty much bingo. You can sign up, like, let's say you have an Iron Man and a main. You can sign up and play on either one of them. You just can't like actively work towards one tile at the same time. So you can't be like grinding Corrupted Gauntlet and then like AFKing Blood Shard on the other one. You could Runecraft on one because that's not a tile, and then do content on the other. But yeah, you're welcome to flop back and forth between the two as long as you're not
very cool
or grinding something with both of them. So we've got a lot of signups already. Just Dilz will have a link to our Discord in the chat.
It's also discord.gg/thewilderness because we've had so many great people boosting the channel, so you can type that in. But yeah, there's a link in the description. And we also have signups have gone out. Yeah, the signups are out, so I'll also post that in the description of the episode too, so you can find the Google Forms to sign on up.
Yeah, it's in event announcements too if you're interested in seeing the board. But Dilz will post the information in the show notes down below. So that should be good, dude. I'm really looking forward to it this year. My girlfriend has a couple days off, so I won't be able to go as hard as normal.
Oh, cool.
We're going to go on a little trip, but still, I get to play for quite a few days, and I'm looking forward to making some new friends.
Yeah, it always has such a great turnout. Last one they seem to be bigger every single time too, so it's super exciting.
Nearly 70 people last time.
And if you're active in the Discord, or if you're in the Discord and you're in the clan, then you get a little badge too. If your team wins, you get this reward. Of course, you get to win some money, and you just make a whole lot of money as a team themselves. Yeah, I'm excited. We're doing like a We have like a pool of players. Some of us are going to sub in if something falls behind. Sometimes a team a few people might not be able to show up, so I might be able to participate. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, we've been increasing the systems and the board and just the whole event have been getting better every time we do. I think this is number 5 or number 6 at this point. So we definitely have improved, and I think this is not only the best board, but it's the best system that we've had so far.
It's like the opposite of Dead Man mode, where it gets better every time.
Exactly. Dead Man mode gets worse. This is significantly better than Dead Man mode. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Awesome. Yeah. That's RuneScapers. We love our bingo.
Yeah. So that's everything. Sorry for the impromptu announcement there, Dilz, but I guess we could move on to the news now.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Let's hop on over to the news. All right. Now on to the news. Heartless just stepped away to get a pack of cigarettes from the store, but it's been like 6 hours and he hasn't come back. So we're just going to go on without him. All right, first things first. Android beta and gold sync changes. So there's been a saga going on where basically, okay, this is where the conspiracy comes in. I think it's a pretty solid one though. But myself and many other people think they are phasing out the legality of third-party clients. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, or if you've been playing RuneScape for a while, and not just playing RuneScape, but I mean like been a part of the community. I say that with quotes. The community can get like super toxic, but there's all this shit that happens that and what I mean is that a while ago there used to be a bunch of third-party clients, and the big 3 were OS Buddy, which is like the original third-party client, Conduit, which was like a less good, but it was for some reason better for rating. Third-party client, and then there was the new up-and-comer, the new on the scene third-party client known as RuneLite. And what made RuneLite so awesome was that it was free. So OS Buddy, so everyone was using OS Buddy. And they had 2 sets of plugins. They had the free plugins, and then they had plugins that were like really good, but you needed to pay $2 a month. You basically had to pay a subscription to get access to these plugins. But like I was doing it, tons of people were doing it because the plugins were really, really good. And honestly, I can't even remember what the plugins were because RuneLite came out, which was this open source, fully free third-party client that we could all use. And what made it so good was that many of the paid to use plugins on OS Buddy was also available on RuneLite, but for free. And RuneLite started pumping out like so many more plugins, and it was open source. So basically anybody could make a plugin for RuneLite, which means there were a lot of plugins coming out. And then there were some sketchy ones that came out, like basically ones that told you exactly how to do Zulrah. If anyone has ever done Zulrah, you know that they shoot, these poison clouds pop up and you need to know exactly where to stand or you're going to get hit by it. And this plugin basically told you it predicted where you could stand. So it essentially made the fight just like a lot easier. And there was one for demonic gorillas, told you what to pray. There was one for Jad that told you what to pray. So those were a little bit broken. And then because of that, Jagex came in and said, we're banning RuneLite. And they basically said we're taking action to every third-party client except for OS Buddy, because OS Buddy was a lot more regulated. But there's all of this like conspiracy. I can't remember if it was confirmed or not. I think some of it was, but like either Jagex was getting a kickback of money from the OS Buddy subscription service, or somehow they were colluding with each other. And the OS Buddy head offices as I say this, I'm starting to like, did I just read some fake or watch some stupid YouTube video that was fake? But basically, whatever office the guy who was running OS Buddy worked out of was near Jagex HQ. So there's all this like stuff that made it seem super sketchy. And also the person who was behind OS Buddy, he used to be behind, I think it was PowerBot, basically this botting client from way back. So that also made it pretty sketchy as well. But anyways, Jagex came out, they shut down RuneLite, and they also shut down Conduit as basically collateral damage. And then there was a huge uproar because people were like, we don't want to have to pay for these awesome plugins. RuneLite offered them for free. So then RuneLite became this like, it was like somewhat open source. Basically, people could still make plugins for it, but they had to be approved by the RuneLite team. And then eventually, like now we all use RuneLite because it is pretty much hands down better than OS Buddy. And it's free, which is amazing. So there's that whole debacle that happened way back. And now we've been seeing them bringing some of the RuneLite features into the base game, but it's under a beta, right? You can use it on the Steam client if you want to play on PC, and you could sign up for an Android beta so you could try these features on your phone. And all of this to say that down the road, a lot of people think, myself included, that they are going to bring a bunch of features, really improve the client, the vanilla client, and they're going to come out and say, hey, you know what? You can't use third-party clients anymore. Because there are some sketchy ones. I forget what it's called, but there's a bunch of they're basically cheat clients, and it can be really hard to detect. So, anyways, my point is that these features have been slowly rolling out in a beta, and we've been talking about it for a while now. And I'm actually really looking forward to that because I think I mentioned earlier in this episode that playing mobile can be frustrating sometimes, and it's like you need to learn how to be good at mobile. It takes kind of practice. So, I could kill Zulrah, I could do X amount of kills per trip. I go on mobile, and that is severely decreased because I have to be better at killing bosses on mobile, which honestly I usually end up playing another game. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to play RuneScape on mobile. I'd rather play like a Pokemon emulator or like whatever game it is that I'm playing. I'm a big mobile gamer. So here's a little context just in case anyone's tuning in and might have missed what is happening with the vanilla client, because it's been ongoing for a few years now, but it really started way back when they tried banning it. And this has been a problem for a really long time. Anyone who's been playing since like 2005 might remember SwiftKit or Swift Switch, these clients that were like, they look like RuneLite, they look like OS Buddy. It's the same sort of aesthetic, but the only difference is like they kind of sucked. And there was a whole big Swift Switch ban back in the day because they had a world hopper, basically a plugin that allowed you to world hop to any world, but it would bring you to the login screen for that world. Because back in the day, we had to go onto a website. We had to go onto runescape.com, go to the world selector, and we had to click on a world to load it up to log in. But the problem is, if a world was full, you couldn't click into it. So you had to sit there refreshing the world server page, hoping that world 2 was open so you could hop to it to sell a few stuff. And then first off, it was so hard for a spot to be open when you refreshed it. And when it did, you click in, you load up the world, and then you had to spend 5 minutes trying to log in because the world was full. But Swift Switch allowed you to bypass that whole server page. So it brought you right to the main menu. Anyways, Jagex tried to ban that client because of it. And they did. And it was frustrating because we had to wait for a new version of Swift Switch or SwiftKit to come out that didn't have the world hopper, but it did have, the reason why I loved it was MIRC, which was like this chat, because we didn't have a clan chat back then. So everyone was in the MIRC chats. That's where a lot of clans hung out, and it had it kind of right on your screen there. So yeah, this is what happens when I'm running solo. I get on these tangents and I take trips down memory lane and think about the good old days, and there's no one there to stop me. Okay, so the Android beta, if you signed up for it, it has kicked off. All right. And it is running until December 8th. Oh my God, that's in a few days. Why are we even talking about this? I didn't get selected. I was really hoping I would, but if you've tried it out, send us an email, TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. Let us know how it is. Do you approve? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Next is some group iron improvements. So they are bringing a group chat to group Iron Man. So you got your friends chat, your clan chat, your guest clan chat, and now your group chat. And they said you have 2 ways of talking on this chat, and that is 4 slashes. I had to look at my screen. Is it 4 slashes? It's 4 slashes, or you can do /I. I don't know why they're committed to the 4 slashes to jump to a chat. That is freaking atrocious. But /I also does the trick. So do that. There will also be loop broadcasts similar to what we have in our clan chat, but it will now be brought to just the group Iron player group. They will have a new interface, which will tell you a bunch of fun stuff like creation date, leader's name, group prestige, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, cool stuff. Group Ironmans. I hope you guys enjoy that. They want to also be increasing the group storage. They want to give emergency teleport shards and entering and teleporting to group members' houses. But that's coming up in the future. All right. Gold sync changes. All right. So it's finally out. At 47 construction, you'll need 10 condensed gold bars, 5 gold leaves, 5 mahogany planks to build a gold sink for your house. It is just a gold sink. It's got a cool animation for turning on the water, that's kind of cool, actually. It's going to cost you like 50 mil just for the condensed gold. It's going to cost you 100 mil just for the condensed gold. And they also came out with larger bank spaces so you can buy bank space now, increasing your bank space all the way up to 1,160 if you're a member, or 760 if you're a non-member, for a cost of 888 million gold. Sweet. We are all hoarders in this game, especially the iron players out there. So this is nice to increase that bank space. But you know what? I'm playing the Ultimate Iron Man, and guess what? This shit, Easy Escape, right? If I ever seen Easy Escape, it's through this. What a joke. And I have been rioting at Falador since this came out. Yeah, I'm out. I'm seeing the baby at the hospital, and you bet your ass I'm on mobile protesting this. There's a guy in my city, and I see him every weekend when I'm driving down through the downtown core. And he's this dude who's just standing by City Hall, and he's got a sign that is saying, like, we need to end the production of all nuclear weapons. And he's protesting it every friggin' weekend. He's all by himself. I don't know what Canada doesn't even have nuclear weapons, so I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do, but I see it. I'm like, bro, I respect that. Like, that's never going to happen. But that's like if I was out there protesting crime, we need to stop murdering people. And, maybe there's like a murderer off to murder someone. He was like, I never thought of it that way before. And then he doesn't do it. Anywho, I'm doing the same thing, but I'm at Falador on my Ultimate Iron Man, protesting these larger bank spaces. So yeah, come join me. All right. And they have updated the chat modes a little bit more. So it is getting increasingly difficult to keep track of all of it. You basically have to be like a Java coder, JavaScript coder, to kind of know how to handle all these different chat features. Not really. I'm just kidding. But what you can do now is, I guess this was only a RuneLite thing. So, what you could do on RuneLite is you could do /C enter, and means every single one of your chat messages would go into the clan chat without having to type that code beforehand, that chat code. Can we call it a chat code? I don't know. But they brought it into the vanilla game, and it makes sense why this was not working. This was not working on RuneLite for the past week. I was freaking out there. I kept typing messages into public, into the friends chat. But if you do /@F, the @ symbol, and then F, and then press enter, all of your messages will then go into the friends chat, and same with clan, the group, all of it, right? /@P, and we'll bring it all into that chat mode. So that's great. That is very useful. But I guess it's an engine thing. But let's do one better. What all the other MMOs do is you do /C, and then when you push enter, it automatically takes away that code, and now all of your messages will be going into the clan chat until you do /P or /F, and then it just removes that @ symbol. But maybe it's me just being a little whiner. I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm a little cranky. Yeah, anyways, they added it in. Finally, we're slowly getting to a modernized chat system. Great. Okay. Speaking of Group Iron Man, they brought out a dev blog called Post-Launch Improvements. So these look like to be just proposals. Guys, I have to admit it. I haven't had a chance to read over these dev blogs. I haven't had a chance, so we're kind of going in blind. I've missed a few live streams. So I'm going in blind. I'm going in blind. So please forgive me if I mess any of this stuff up. Yeah, so this seems like it's a proposal. So the first one is a group storage expansion. Oh, we just talked about this. So they want to increase your storage system, but they want to tailor it. They want it to be a reward to unlock them, but making it a little bit different than non-group iron players, the just paying for it. So they want to have it so you have to complete tasks. So this is what they say: hitting certain individual and group levels, completing combat achievement tiers, completing achievement diary tiers, obtaining quest points, and various combat achievements. So, it'd be kind of like having a combat achievement tasks, but it's for your group iron, and it would allow you to go from 80 all the way to 200 bank slots that you can share together. And they want it to feel rewarding when you can upgrade your bank. So yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. They want to bring out emergency teleport shards. For whatever reason, these modes are considered safe for regular hardcore players, but they are dangerous for hardcore group iron players. And I guess you can tell that they kind of wished they could do this for the hardcore players, but a lot of people would cry about, it's not fair that I just made my group, my hardcore account, and now it's dangerous. And Chambers of Xeric, this guy, it wasn't dangerous for, or the Inferno and all that stuff. But for group iron players, it is indeed dangerous to do. Chambers of Xeric, both normal and challenge mode, the Inferno, any of the Jad tasks, Pest Control and Barbarian Assault. And this can feel quite brutal. So what they're allowing is for you to buy some emergency teleport shards so that when you feel like you're about to die, you can teleport the hell out of there. Or when you can predict your server lag coming, and you're just you get that spidey sense and you're like, holy shit, I feel like a lag is about to happen. Well, you can get the hell out of there. All right, player-owned house edition. So they want to allow you to enter another player's house remotely. Because right now you can only enter a person's house if that person is in the house. But they are taking baby steps and basically saying, you know what, you can open. It's kind of like the clan system, right? If somebody wants to join our clan Wild, come on, anyway, everyone's invited. All that has to happen is I need to open applications, and then you need to be on the same world, and then you can do it remotely. So they want to do the same thing, but with you're entering somebody else's house. So that someone doesn't have to just stand in their house to let other people in it. So some pretty good stuff. It's one step towards just always entering your group iron house collectively. All right, next is PJ timer and chat changes. Holy shit, am I having a stroke right now? We just talked about chat changes. All right, let's go into this. We're going to dive in. So they want to change. There's been this ongoing issue of the PJ timer, which stands for player jerking or player jacking, or maybe probably player jumping, now that I think about it. But yeah, basically it's this issue where if you're out there PKing, what can happen is if let's say you have player 1 and player 2. This is very basic. I'm just bringing for the people who don't know what PJing is. But if you guys are out there PKing, player 1 is attacking player 2. You guys are fighting each other. If player 2 starts just spam eating food and he stops attacking back because he's just eating food, after a few seconds, someone can come up and smack player 1 who is attacking the player who's eating food. And basically it's it's preventing the fight from happening, and now it's you jump in there, and it's a way for people to steal kills, or for teams to kind of transfer. Okay, I'm low on food, I'm going to transfer out. But it became kind of toxic for I guess people call them singles clans. Honestly, back in the day, this was totally fine because it made it a way for singles PK, singles clans. We call it singles clans, but it's just not multi. You would just trade off, and there's some strategy involved. And then as PKing died, it became much more toxic. So they have been trying to nonstop fix this system so that people can't just stop fighting it to allow one of their clanmates to jump in and spec them out, and then they stop and someone else jumps in to spec them out, and it just becomes it's fucking horror. It's just toxic. So they've introduced a thing called Singles Plus way back in the Wilderness, which it's basically you're allowed to PJ someone off a monster. So what they're adding is basically a 9-point-second grace period that allows you to be kind of safe after a fight has basically finished, so somebody can't jump in for like 10 seconds. There's a 10-second timer for you to either loot the body of somebody you just killed, because that's another issue, right? You kill somebody, start looting it, somebody comes in and just specs you out. You have now 10 seconds to do whatever it is you want to do before things resume. But this is just an idea. It is a beta that is going to be happening in select worlds to basically test it out if this should be a full-on feature. Next, the Hallowed Sepulchre records have been reset for both world and personal because someone found a bug that you were allowed to acquire impossible personal best times as low as 1 tick. So they're looking into the issue and they fixed it, but they reset all the timers so that you can't like sneak out a 0.6 for those speedrunners out there who's just like snagging impossible records to beat. All right. Oh my God. I feel like I'm having a stroke. They have group chat changes again in this, and there's like nothing new. Why the frig is this in here? So quickly to the Grand Exchange, they are implementing a 2% flat tax rate when exchanging goods on the Grand Exchange. They are thinking about lowering that to 1% and to cap the tax on any given item at 5 million coins. I guess they're worried of like Tebow and Scythe and all that stuff from crashing super hard due to a 2% tax. So 2% tax on a twisted bow, if it was 1 billion, that's like what, 20 mil tax? So I guess they're worried that's going to have some terrible stuff. But anyways, things will level out. They always do. And so it looks like okay, I got this. So it caps at 5 mil. I thought the tax wouldn't be applied to anything above 5 mil in price. Sorry, you get taxed up to 5 million. So instead of you losing 20 mil from a 1 billion sale, you will only lose 5 million. And this way, if you want to get 5 mil and save it, you could do a direct trade, or you could just bite the bullet, lose 5 mil, and then move on. All right, and that is it for changes. The final piece of news that we have to talk before we get on out of here, for the most part, is the 11th annual Golden Gnome Awards. So this is like the Emmys or the Oscars, or here in Canada, the Junos for RuneScape. All right, so there's a bunch of different categories where people can win stuff, basically content creator related, and you can vote on it, and then they win a golden gnome. All right, so there are currently 19 gnomes up for grabs. The first category is video. So best new RuneScape video creator. So for RuneScape 3, best new old school RuneScape video creator, best RuneScape video creator in general, and then same best old school RuneScape video creator. And then finally there is the RuneScape video of the year. So single video, and same with the old school video of the year. So yeah, if you have a content, a YouTuber that you really, really enjoy, or maybe they're on Vimeo, right? What if they're out there on Vimeo making videos? They're probably disqualified. Jagex likes to roll just on YouTube. But you could vote for them, and if enough people like them, they might win the Golden Gnome. So it's a great way to What's really good about this is a lot of hard work that gets put in to these videos, and while they're making money probably through ads and through sponsorships, which is great, this also allows someone to get more recognition. And if you're looking for new content to consume, hey, go check out one of the Golden Gnome winners. You might enjoy their content, right? And if we've been paying attention to this for years now. Every single year, the YouTube videos have been getting so much better. They used to be, look back like 6 years ago, the winner was like a friend who basically just does like vlogs of his account with minimal editing. And then look at, is it last year or the year before? It would have been the year before when Swampletics won. And if you haven't seen his series, it's like this big, it's a lot of work it's put into it. So they're just getting better and better. So what's awesome about these Golden Gnomes is I think they encourage people to really push the limit. Next category is streaming. So, hey, you're like, what, YouTube sucks. We're all about that Twitch streamer content. Well, they have best new RuneScape streamer, best new old school streamer, best RuneScape streamer in general, and then best old school streamer in general. So, new streamer. I used to think it was somebody who just started in the last year, but really it's someone who just started getting popular in the last year, because I know Jimmy was nominated one of the years, but he had been making RuneScape videos for like years prior to that. It's just a year ago where things started getting popular. The next category, and this is one of my favorite ones because you really see how talented the community is. It's the art category. So we have the best new RuneScape artist, best new old school RuneScape artist, best RuneScape artist in general, best old school artist in general, best RuneScape artistic creation. So similar to the best video, this is the best artistic creation, and then best old school artistic creation, and then finally best cosplay creation. So these are cool because you see people making. Someone made this is where it blows my mind. RuneScape 3 has so many like the people. RuneScape 3 is a much smaller player base. Their videos there's less content creators, but they make crazy when it comes to like creative art. There's like last year somebody made a pop-up book. Like what? Someone made a full-on pop-up book that was like looked really good. You know, people make like crocheted figurines. People make like sculptures or they glass blow things. So it's stuff like that. It's not just someone who can draw something cool, even though a lot of that is too, because there's a lot of legend arts. It's one of my favorite. I'm in this RuneScape Discord for artists, and that's where I got the logo for this podcast created. I commissioned someone on there to do it, and man, so the people there are phenomenal. But it's more than just digital art or paintings or whatever it is. It's like sculptures and all that stuff too. Okay, finally, the last category is the community category. So it is the Best Achievement Award for RuneScape and Best Achievement Award Old School. So this might be, and this is chosen by Jagged, so it might be someone who did this huge charity drive, raised a bunch of money, or maybe somebody did something really cool, like so they'll win that award there. But, I said at the beginning, I'm going to have to solo rant about this one. But where is the podcast category? This is 6 years in a row. We haven't seen a podcast category, and I will keep on asking for it until we get it. And then we can inevitably complain when we don't win every year, but that's fine. That's just content, right? I can get upset, maybe start some drama, right? Start some drama on Twitter with other RuneScape podcasters, and then it blows up on Reddit, and then I have to come on here and do an apology about how I wasn't in the right frame of mind, or like, I got freaking really drunk and just started tweeting because that's what I like to do. I just get fucking wasted and start tweeting, do like an Instagram live with my baby crying in the background, like screaming as I'm like ranting about not winning the podcast awards. Yeah. Anyways, there's all the categories there. So yeah, let us know who you think deserve to win. If nothing more, so that I have some new YouTubers to watch. All right, so that's all the news, guys. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'll be right back. Maybe Heartless will have returned from the store from getting a pack of cigarettes. Maybe. Let's fingers crossed. We'll see in a minute. All right, we're taking a quick little break, heading on over to the Grand Exchange, where we talk about financial stuff, but we also talk about how you can support the show. That's right. Of course, this segment, we tell you how you can support the show, if that's something you would like, or maybe you want some extra podcast content, in which case we do offer some bonus content on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/TheWildernessPodcast. So each week, Jagex does mostly every week, they do a live stream, and they do kind of a Q&A where they talk about kind of maybe the dev blog, answer some questions. So one of the things we offer on Patreon is a audio version of that. We basically watch it together. I do a pre-show and a post-show and some commentary over top during it. We kind of just watch it together. So you'll get that on Patreon, as well as these a new series I've been doing called Dilz Diaries, and it's basically just me talking about some sort of topic of old school RuneScape. We've done a couple episodes now. The past one we just did a couple weeks ago was the Ultimate Iron Man puzzle, and basically talking about how the Ultimate Iron Man versus I think it was like an Iron Man, and then comparing it to different genres of gaming, and why I enjoyed doing a Snowflake Ultimate Iron Man, and what I kind of didn't expect from playing a restricted account like that, not leveling up anything except for my defense. So I want to welcome Brian Latwis and Yay Fiber to the Patreon crew this week. Thank you guys so much for the support. But a special shout out to our top tier supporters: Jensen New, Splimo, Szechuan, Strassi, Mallard, Twisted Soul, Jay Blaz, Z Space, Chandler, and Yay Fiber. Guys, thank you so much for all the support. And thank you to everyone else who are a part of our other Patreon tiers. Thank you guys a lot. We appreciate it. It means the world, helps keep the lights on here at Jagus HQ. But hey, some people don't like Patreon for whatever reason, and they prefer to go to other platforms to support. So we have buymeacoffee.com/Dilz, where you can pledge a one-time donation instead. So thank you so much to Caradoc and Angie666 for keeping me caffeinated this week. Trust me, I really needed it. It has been crazy with the baby, lots of coffee, so appreciate it a ton. And of course, our Discord server is being boosted by Battlestaffs, Chick, Hoyt, and Should've. Guys, thank you so much for boosting the server as well. It allows us to have some cool perks as well as a unique URL, which is discord.gg/thewilderness. So thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who's been supporting the show. Really, it's awesome. Okay, let's move on to the rest of the episode here. All right, we are back and we have some emails. I have Heartless still out there getting his pack of cigarettes. I'm just kidding. He's not. I don't think he's gone to the convenience store. I had to go see the baby, and then we just couldn't link up times. But I figured I'd run the rest of it on my own. It's been a while, right? The show must go on, right? That's what they say. So we're doing that. We're making sure the show goes on. Okay, but we do have some emails to go through. So first one is from Mr. Matakos1. He says, "Hi, I'd like to pose you guys a new question. What NPC has the best job in old school RuneScape, and what NPC has the worst?" He says, "My response is August, the hot air balloon operator. He just flies around the world all the time. Worst any Grand Exchange banker. Talk about the most stressful job ever." Yeah, no kidding, eh? Oh man, that's tough, right? I feel like one of the worst ones would have to be being part of the Khazard or Gnome military, because there's just been a Khazard versus Gnome war going on for 20 years now. And anytime you go there, it never really lets up, right? It's just been a slaughter fest. It's been so, I mean, if you're part of one of the military, eventually you'd be sent to the front lines of that war, because eventually you would, right? You can, unless there's a way you can hold up at the Gnome stronghold, but eventually you'd be set there. So that'd be pretty rough. I'd imagine another rough one would be any Slayer Master, right? That's got to be some sort of job. It's their job to keep certain monsters under control. I mean, and we all know it's a never-ending battle. Greater demons, any monster in general, is reproducing at an alarming rate. So much so that you're sent to go kill fire giants, and you're like, okay, I'll go kill 200 of them. That's a lot. And you come back, and it's yeah, they're back at it again. They've just been reproducing. We gotta kill some more fire giants, and you're like, god damn, still. And then that there's a bunch of people who have blocked ice fiends and greater demons and fire giants, and then the Slayer Masters are like, yo, we need we still have to cull them, they just keep getting blocked. So that would be pretty rough. Now, I think for the best job, that's being a Gnome pilot would be pretty sweet, right? The hang gliders just flying all over the place, right? That'd be kind of cool. Imagine that'd be probably one of the more fun jobs. Maybe a sailor too. Maybe being one of the sailors. I've been trying to find a book series that was a pirate book series, because I've always been interested in reading a novel that was very pirate themed. And I thought Life on the Sea would be really interesting. Any of the movies I've seen, Pirates of the Caribbean, I loved it as a kid. I tried watching it, a few months ago, and I got kind of bored halfway through it. And I ended up just turning it off, and I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. And I've tried to read some novels that were had some pirate themes or sailing themes, and they didn't really do it. But I think about that a lot, like how crazy it would be to be a sailor from like the, I don't know, the 15 whatever, right, like centuries ago, before we had like before steam engines were even built. Like that would be so insane. And I've watched YouTube videos. I really like watching those massive like transportation ships when they hit like deep sea waters and there's like a storm and there's like the waves are massive. I love watching the videos of like these giant ships hitting them, and it looks so terrifying, but they hit the wave and then they're like, it looks like they're like 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 feet in the air because the nose of it hits through the wave and then it slams down, and it looks terrifying. And but watching the videos, you know, the people who have, you know, been through it before, they just know that they're safe. The ship's not going to capsize, right? But man, would it look, go watch some of the videos, man. They're freaking insane. And I always thought that would be so interesting for like, you know, centuries ago, those sort of sailors. Like, what the hell? That would be whack. That would be insane. I had a friend in high school, and he was very wealthy. Like, he was super loaded, but I never saw his dad would be gone for like 6 months of the year because he would be on some ship somewhere. Like, he would just be, I don't know, delivering stuff. I don't know what he was actually doing, but he'd be gone for like a long time on some boat out in the ocean, and then he would come back and then have like a ton of money. Like, what that'd be a crazy job. Be terrifying though. I think being a blacksmith would be a good job in Gielinor because everyone else is just doing your smithing for you. Like, you basically just rent out your anvil, right? That wouldn't be too bad. You just sit there and make sure everyone just freaking doesn't steal anything, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, great question. Guys, let me know. What do you think is the best and worst job in old school RuneScape? It's a tough one. I've been wanting, this is just a side note. See, I get really rambly when I'm going solo. I've been wanting to run a D&D campaign or in Gielinor, and I was always thinking like about the different cities. And like, I always had me thinking like, what is if war were to happen, or if a city were to be invaded, what city would be the hardest to invade? Right? I was like kind of thinking about it. You know, you got Falador. They not only do they have their own city guards and city watch, you know, the guards, but they also have their own standing army, which is separate from the city watch. You know, they have the White Knights, and they're pretty well trained, right? They're supposed to be like really well trained. And in there's 3 RuneScape novels, which I'm gonna have to reread them. I started reading one of them. We had a book club going, and then it kind of fizzled out. But it starts off in Falador with the White Knight army. Be kind of interesting, you know. And then you got Varrock has a big city watch, but they don't really have any guards, or they don't really have an actual standing army. The gnomes only have a standing army. They don't really have any guards, but they also have like a lot of like vehicles and shit, right? They have the tortoises, and they have those terror birds, and then they also have aerial. They could do with the hang gliders. They could do anyway. These are the things I think about. So yeah, thank you so much for that. I always love those sort of questions. Really having pondering, because I like to think of like these fantasy worlds. I find like fantasy worlds like really fun when they're really well like immersed or put together. I guess they're really fun to think about. All right, and finally we have from Yarnum. Yarnum says, "Hey Dilz, I'm catching up on your episodes from the last couple of weeks and heard you two gushing over ice cream. I actually make a lot of homemade ice cream, and generally most people say it's the best they've ever had. So I want to share some pictures with you guys. These are the 2 most popular. They are Nutella and marble, mixed with biscuit, brownies, and chocolate fudge. So I am looking at these pictures right now, and holy crap, do they look friggin' delicious. Damn. I am a massive fan of ice cream. I had to stop because I have pre-diabetes right now, and I had to go. I got it in September when I got a blood test. They told me like you need to chill out on basically eating ice cream because you're gonna get diabetes if you continue this. So I had to like really diet and start working out a bunch and stuff. So I haven't had any carbs in a long time, but I friggin' ice cream is the hardest thing for me to like cut out. I just like can't buy ice cream because if there's ice cream in the house, I'm gonna eat the whole thing. But this looks freaking delicious. And mixed with brownies, or mixed with biscuit. That's interesting. I don't know if I ever heard that combination before. But my favorite ice cream has always been Algonquin Canoe. I might have talked about this when we talked about it the other day, but it's French vanilla ice cream with a hint of maple, chocolate ripple, and chocolate caramel canoes. So it's free. Ice cream is so good. Oh my God. And another quick story. My dad. So my mom passed away when I was young. So me and my brother went to go live with my dad. And my dad smoked a lot of weed. And I started smoking a lot of weed in high school. And what my dad would do is he would get really stoned and then he went and bought an ice cream maker and he would make ice cream. And it was the best phase that he went through where he would just be making literally ice cream all the time. He used to get super stoned and make some like fresh strawberry ice cream. And it was so good. But I mean, sometimes the problem is like it was like midnight and I'm like maybe playing RuneScape getting ready for bed and he'd be like, nope. Before you go to bed, you have to eat this ice cream because I just made it. And you're just like, man, because he's like, we can freeze it, but it's better fresh. And you'd be like, are you serious right now? All right, Yarnum, thank you so much for the email. Guys, thanks so much. If you want to email the show, it's TheWildernessPodcast@gmail.com. It's been a few weeks since we had the podcast because of the baby. So, of course, I'm a bit of a chatty Cathy today. So I apologize. Anyone who's like, holy crap, just get where can we find the Discord? We just want to hear where we can find the Discord. Great question. Discord.gg/TheWilderness. We're doing bingo at the end of the month, so signups are now out there. You can find them in the description of this episode. You can also go to Discord. If you're playing bingo, that's where you're going to want to be, so you can submit your photos of you getting drops and all that fun stuff. But it's become a really cool little community on Discord itself. We play Magic the Gathering. We play Dungeons and Dragons. We were playing Halo Infinite the other couple of weeks, and some other people are jumping in there. We're playing Melvor Idol together. It's a lot of fun stuff, and it's great because I know like growing. Like I never really had a friend group to play other games beside RuneScape with, but just being in the Discord, I'm having some people to play Halo with, right? And I would not have played Halo on my own just because it's not the funnest to play solo. So anyways, it's great. If you're looking for a little community to jump into, highly recommend it. A lot of fun. We also have an in-game clan. That's Clan Wild. And our friends chat is WildCC. Not as active anymore. Not as active. A lot of people moved over to the clan. So you can join that. And our Twitter is @TheWildernessRS if Twitter's your thing. Yeah, and I think that is it. I stream from time to time, twitch.tv/TheDilz. I do plan on streaming more in the new year. That's something that I've wanted to do. I have a PvP, a hardcore Iron Man and PvP World only account that's been a lot of fun that I only play when I stream it. And I'm really itching to start that bad boy back up. But yeah, feel free to follow in there if you want to hang out sometime. But TBD when that actually happens. Okay, we need a song of the week, don't we? We need a song of the week. Oh my God, this is a long one. Okay, so in the theme of just having a baby, we will be playing the song Meddling Kids. It's a music track that was unlocked during a cutscene in Royal Treble, where player finds lost teenagers in the Miscellanea Nexteria dungeon. This title is a reference to the Scooby-Doo franchise. Whenever the mystery gang had solved a mystery, the perpetrator would say, I would have gone away with it too if it weren't for those meddling kids and their dog. Oh boy. Came out in May 22, 2006. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm really excited for the end of the month here because we have to do our end of the month spectacular where we take a look at the past year, all the updates that have happened, and take a look at my favorite thing is all the drama and controversial events that have happened over the past year. That is always my favorite part. But guys, it's been a crazy year. Start sending in what you think are some controversial events. Just they can be hard to find, and I usually keep a list. Whenever something happens, I throw it on there. But this has been such a crazy year. It slipped my mind. Same with 2020. But still, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be very, very fun. I have some fun things planned. We also are coming up on episode 200, which is also gonna have some fun stuff planned for that as well. I am very excited. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys, thanks for listening. It's been a crazy week. Yeah, I'm a dad now. Damn, that's crazy. Bye.
If you love chilling mysteries, unsolved cases, and a touch of mom-style humor, Moms and Mysteries is the podcast you've been searching for. Hey guys, I'm Mandy.
And I'm Melissa. Join us every Tuesday for Moms and Mysteries, your gateway to gripping, well-researched true crime stories. Each week, we deep dive into a variety of mind-boggling cases as we shed light on everything from heists to whodunits. We're your go-to podcast for mysteries with a motherly touch. Subscribe now to Moms and Mysteries wherever you get your podcasts.